Can everybody see that?
Yep.
So I know the last time that we did tutoring, we had a few resources. It was on a Google Drive. I think it's going to be a lot easier just to have these clickable links in a Word document. And I just wanted to go through these websites briefly so we all get a chance to see these. And so the first one that I have is probably one of the most popular. Probably everyone's heard of that. That's Khan Academy. Khan Academy, we're going to have a login for a few of these. I'm going to make an account that everybody can use. If you're interested in making your own account, that's totally cool. Oh, can you guys see this or no? You can see the website?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so Khan Academy is basically straightforward. You click on courses, they have grade level, and then they have specific subjects. So, if we need to jump into math, for third grade, it's just simply you click on here and we're already into lessons and questions. Again, I will create a group account if you guys don't want to make your own, which I wasn't expecting you guys to utilize to log in. Like for this next website, Extra Math, this was one that was highly recommended from my mother. And it's another one where we're just going to go click in. I should have made an account here, but it's very similar to Khan Academy. And what's cool about Extra Math is they have these 10-minute lessons that are really reinforced to just drill math problems, like, times tables, addition tables, things like that. And so it might be a cool warm up if your student is something that, if math is something you guys need to utilize and work on. Prodigy Game is another one very similar to Extra Math. Let me click out. This is more, it's a little bit bigger of a game, but you'll make an account and it's cool because there's a lot of visuals for the kids. So the kids get to walk around, answer problems, do things like that. It'd be a cool thing for you to share your screen with, and the kid can kind of direct you how to, what to do in the game. The next one is Cool Math. This is an old school one, but it's another website for math. We can pull up. They've got some of the harder questions. So this might be for, sixth grade up to high school. We're gonna have a few high schoolers. But if we were to go right into it, let's see here. Popular, what's a fraction? And so we have lessons here that we can go through together. It's not so much games, but written out lessons that are very straightforward. And that's also nicely done visually. And our last math one here is Arcademics. This is something that we utilized at the end of last tutoring session. And what this is, they have a wide range of grades. So it's grades 1 through 6 and a wide range of subjects here. So we have all different types of math games, and basically they're all the same format. So if we were to go to, let's say, addition, and we did alien addition, it's a very quick, it starts up, and it'd be something cool to do with, you could share your screen. So you could share your screen and you could do the clicking, and it looks cool. It's very simple, but kids were really into it last semester. So it's another quick go-to, especially if we don't have any homework for that night. And there's a bunch of, they all are the same style, but they look different. So the kids really like, I want to do puppies, or I want to do kittens and things like that. So it was a lot of fun. Then we have some language arts. So we have Dogo News, which is cool because these are a lot of articles for kids to read about social issues, history issues. Some are different levels, but they have some cool ones on civics and world. And for some of our kids that are, in the 4th to 8th grade range, these would be cool things you guys could read together, or you could read to your student and you can have a conversation about something like that. They even have, like an audio feature. And our last language arts one here is Newsela, and it's a similar one. It's something that we can do to, I'm gonna have to make an account for this. But we have language arts, science, and history articles that we can read together with our students. So I will make sure to include the password in the account for all of these. It'll probably be the same thing. So that way you don't have to remember a different account for each thing. I think it'll probably just be like Housing Up Tutor, and I'll include a password. The last thing we have here is the Kindle app right now is allowing you to search ebooks from your local library. So if you have a library card and you're interested in getting a book or two from your local library, Kindle right now is allowing you to download free Kindle versions from your library. And I will also send out some instructions about that. But if reading is something we need to work on, or you found some books at the library that you would be interested in, but you can't make it to the library, or their ebook, there's an ebook version, you can stay at home and download these onto for a Kindle app. And so you don't actually have to have a physical Kindle. I believe you can download it onto your laptop. Any questions about any of these?
I have some context setting questions, and maybe other people know this. I don't know. Can you tell us a little bit about the goals of this program, just so we know the overall kind of goals, and something about how the children get into the program and the range of their ages, and what is driving them? What are just a sense of what are they after?
Sure, that's a great question. And basically what we're doing here is at Housing Up, we have over 700 families that we house and support. Around 150 of these families live in private affordable housing. They're not in a government run or a government directed housing program. These are families that didn't qualify for a program, but they needed affordable housing. And so they're able to make ends meet in the sense of they can afford rent, but they really can't afford any other extracurriculars. So this program is meant to supplement those families that couldn't otherwise find or afford tutors. The kids are ranging from, the youngest that we have are in kindergarten. I think the very youngest are like 6. And this year we're actually gonna have a few kids in high school, some freshmen. So it's a wide range of kids. The goals are basically, the nightly goal is 2 things. One is to develop a relationship with the student, especially in this time of COVID. They're online. They're not getting a lot of one-on-one attention with the teacher, especially if they need it. So this is an opportunity for them to get some individual work support, as well as connect with an individual from DC that can provide friendship or mentorship. And the second thing is to try to make sure that they are engaged in their academics. Heather can tell you an experience from last semester where her student needed help reading. And so Heather found some reading resources and did a wonderful job making sure that her student was working on reading. Heather really went above and beyond. And it was a perfect example of an individual touch with her student that she otherwise would not have gotten from her regular academic course. Something new that we're going to do this year is on our first day and for the first 2 weeks, I'm going to have a very small self-observation sheet for you to just kind of write down, hey, we did math homework and we're doing division, but I noticed that my student was having trouble doing some basic math, or we're trying to get through the writing assignment and I noticed that my student is having trouble spelling basic words or reading basic words. For you, because another thing is, I'm part of community engagement and programs at Housing Up. You're going to meet another individual named NCAM. NCAM is our resident coordinator who works at our building where most of these kids are living. But neither of us have detailed academic knowledge of where these kids are at, especially now that we've added a bunch of new kids. And so what you guys provide back to us is oftentimes, our firsthand information of where these kids are at academically. So we're going to have this observation sheet for you to write down the first 2 weeks, some strengths or areas for improvement that you've just noticed with your student. It's not because you've been poking and prodding. It's just, hey, we've been doing homework and I've noticed that they're struggling with this issue. And so then once we identify that after those first 2 weeks, we will work with you to see if you feel comfortable trying to address those. And if not, how can we help supplement what you're trying to do to try to address those areas? Also, at the very end, in May or June, we'll be able to look back and say, hey, in January, we identified this issue, and then we'll allow you to do a self-assessment at the end and say, hey, we couldn't get through 4-letter words, and now they're able to pronounce 7-letter words, or as an example like that. Does that make sense?
Is there any coordination with the school at all?
So in previous years, NCAM was able to go to the school and meet with teachers. That has not happened this semester. That is something we've always done in the past. And I will be able to give you an update if we're going to be able to talk to them for 2021. But unfortunately, this fall, NCAM was not able to connect with the teachers. Usually the kids go to 4 different schools. And so it was pretty easy. In a week, he could go sit down at each school on one night, meet with X amount of teachers briefly, just to understand, if not exactly what the kid needed, at least have an understanding of, hey, this is what we're looking at for the academic year. And so as in depth as we possibly can get, we will always strive. But for this program specifically, it's a good balance of making sure we get our work done, but also providing that relationship mentorship piece with our student, especially now since they, it's been very difficult it's been difficult for all of us, let alone some of these younger students who haven't had chances. They haven't had their after school programs they might have gone to in a normal time to get academic support or emotional social support. And so this program is offering an outlet as much as focused on academic improvement, if that makes sense.
What schools do they go to?
So we have kids in wards 1, 4, and 7. I couldn't name you all the schools. NCAM certainly could. And that's certainly, if you're interested in learning more about the schools or how you might be able to support NCAM in that, you and me could certainly have a conversation about that later this week or sometime next week.
And can you help me? What is NCAM?
NCAM is our resident service coordinator. So we have 3 large properties. 2 are in Northwest DC, Ward 4. 1 is in Ward 7 that 150 of our families live at. NCAM is in charge of providing the quality of life programs that we help supplement these families in place of case management, because these families aren't in a formal housing program. They are just eligible for below market rate private affordable housing that we provide at Housing Up. Normally, if you're in a government sponsored program, you're going to get a case manager, which would provide a lot of these quality of life opportunities, or not opportunities, programs, or refer you to them. But the families in these housing buildings that these children are coming from, they're not in those programs, so they don't have a case manager. So NCAM essentially tries to supplement what a case manager might be able to provide if needed to these families. It's called a resident service coordinator.
And is it short for something, NCAM?
Nope, NCAM, that's his name.
All right.
And so just in the sake of time, if you have more questions, Angela, please send me an email, or we could set up another Zoom, because I'd be happy to go over these things with you. I just need to go over 2 more things here for this training here. Okay, let me bring up the second document. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. So this is our tips for success. Can you guys all see this?
Yes.
So the first tip here is developing a relationship with your student. So for many of you guys, it's gonna be the first time you get to know them. And so especially the first session we do have, whether that's next Wednesday or the following Wednesday, feel free to use the first 10 to 20 minutes just to simply get to know folks. What do they like? What have they been interested in? How have they been doing? Maybe share a few things about yourself they might be able to relate to. And then try to establish one or two things that we could consider a routine. So whether that's, a question that you guys always ask each other before you get started, like, hey, what was your favorite thing you ate this week? Or something little like that, as a simple routine and something that they can get used to. Because what's going to happen is we're all going to come together in the beginning. Last year we did a question of the day. It kind of ran on a little bit long. We're going to shorten that up and we're going to do a very quick survey with thumbs up or thumbs down. And then we're going to get straight into our breakout room. So this greeting or this question for you guys would be a nice way to just kind of break the ice for whatever is going on for the day once you get into your Zoom room. Another thing is that we always want to stay really positive, right? We always want to use positive reinforcement. These kids have a wide range of personalities. Some are quiet, some are loud, some will give up right away, some are very resilient. And so always using positive reinforcement and not taking over for a student, but starting to develop, hey, I see they're getting a little bit frustrated. Maybe if I give them a good hint, they'll be re-energized and we'll be able to finish this problem. The second one is being very interactive and engaging with your student as much as possible. So constantly asking questions, constantly giving compliments. Asking questions is the best way to keep them engaged. When we just sit there and it's dead silent for a minute, they don't know what's going on. They may feel a little awkward. So, right here, for example, extend your learning beyond what's the page. So 4 + 3 = 7. Can you tell me what number comes before 7? What comes after 7? So this is something that is not part of the problem, but it's another way to keep them engaged. They're answering, and it's also building up confidence, right? So we answer the problem, but now we can go on and explain just a little bit more. And these are things that you'll develop and you can just use your creativity. The third one is be prepared. So with the resource guide, I would highly encourage you either, sometime this weekend, give each website a little click, have a somewhat of an understanding of what's on there. And so the first week or two, you may just try out, okay, my student, we finished homework early and we went on, Khan Academy and this other page wasn't really working. Next week, we're going to try the other two. And once you figure out, even if you just figure out one website that works really well, feel free to stick to that and use that as much as possible before it gets boring or you run out of material. It's not necessarily about always switching it up, but something that your student is engaged about and, excited about. That is always a really good way to get through time once homework's done. And the last one, kind of like we said, keeping comments positive, complimenting work, being flexible. And, something that's not written on here, though, is that there's going to be days where the student is, having a bad day and finishing their division homework may not be as important as simply talking about what's wrong. Maybe they want to tell you a 5 to 10 minute story about something that's really important to them. That is totally okay too. Figure out ways to work those in to build that relationship, to get that stress off them. And then they'll be, more open and engaged to getting their academic work done. Any questions about that?
Dylan, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to add to your number 2 there. In terms of getting to know your students, since I have had the same student for the 1 semester already, yeah. In terms of expanding the learning, what I learned in the course of just getting to know her and her patterns is she's very good at math, but she didn't recognize the numbers in word form. She couldn't spell them. So, and I investigated that. She said, well, we don't do spelling in school. So that was sort of something that now we're going to work on. And it's another way to kind of expand just an area of math that you wouldn't necessarily think of, is that they're really good at the actual numbers, but they don't recognize them, or she at least doesn't, in word form. So you can expand, you know, that's a way to kind of expand that avenue of learning.
Absolutely. That's a perfect example, right? 3 + 4 = 7. Let's write it out. You know, can we write out 4 + 3 = 7 in word form? Another way to keep them engaged, and we're reinforcing the math at the same time. That's an excellent example, Heather. And this is definitely why we want to use this observation sheet, if anything, for your own tracking, to say, hey, like Heather said, she identified pretty quickly on, this was a unique area that we needed to work on. And it's something for you to focus on. And, you know, on a weekend when I'm trying to think about what am I doing on this Wednesday, well, let's search through the resource guide and see if we can find something that addresses that specific need. And if not, NCAM, Josh, and myself are always here to help supplement those resources or help find new ones. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys here is a feature on Zoom that I just learned about, and that is the whiteboard feature. And so what I'm going to do here, so normally in a normal class, I make sure that everybody here is a co-host. So I'm going to do that just very quickly here. Actually, Josh is the host. So anyways, normally you guys will always be able to share your screen, okay? And so when you click share screen, do you guys have the option to share your screen right now? Yes. At the bottom? So click on share screen just for your own reference, okay? And I'm going to share my screen. But when you click on share screen, you're going to see something right away. It says whiteboard. Does everyone see that? So I'm going to click on whiteboard, and what it's going to do, it's going to take us to this page. And whiteboard is really cool. So we can do things, we can draw, we can do stamps, and then we can also do text box. And something that I was recommended to do for text box, if we are doing things like reading, especially for some of the younger kids, what we can do is have your student tell you a story. And as they tell you the story, you start to write it. So I went to the store, I bought some candy. And then what you can do is have them read it back to you. So although they just dictated a 5 or 6 sentence story, let's have them read it back to us. So let's read together. I went to the store, I bought some candy, etc. Another thing we can do is when they're sharing their screen, so let's say this is the homework class. This is the homework assignment. Can you guys can still see this? If this is the homework assignment, we can now go to our drawing and we can help circle. So let's say, where's my draw here? Let's say the homework is again math. So 4 + 4 = 8. And we're trying to count things off. We can take our drawing mouse and we can X through things. Or we can put a stamp next to things when they get it correct. Oh, you got your problem correct? We're going to give you a stamp here. Or even for some of the little kids, hey, let's do some counting. So how many stars is that? And what if I added this many stars? How many is that? What if I added this? So it's just a cool feature to be able to interact on screens. Now, another thing is, if you guys are looking at the top of your screen, there's an option feature on the right side. And if you click the drop-down menu, it should say a request to annotate. Do you guys see that under more? If you go up to the top, there should be like a green bar, that says like Dylan is sharing his screen, and there should be something called request to annotate. You guys see that? So Angela got it. You can then also draw on, they could also draw on your screen. So we can draw on the same screen, which I think is pretty cool. And so, you know, whiteboard, whether you use it or not, I thought was a really cool feature, especially because a lot of times the kids are sharing their screen. And so you can use your whiteboard to draw or point out things like that, even type in, you know, certain things to try to help engage with the students, and you don't you wouldn't have to be drawn on your own board, showed it over the screen. You can physically go draw on their homework. And it's just a cool feature to interact with. And so again, that's share screen and whiteboard. And when they are sharing their screen, you go up to the right under more and go request to annotate, and then you can do that as well. I'll include like a quick screenshot guide for how to access that so we don't forget. So any questions about the things I've shared? Again, I have no problem going back over these. Or if you have other questions that you would like me to answer, please feel free to have an email. If we even need to have a Zoom, another individual Zoom to go over more things, not an issue at all. Is there any questions?
Will we know who our tutees are? Is that what you call them, tutees, or students who our students are ahead of time?
Absolutely. So I can tell you right now, Angela, and so this is tentatively. So just FYI, we have 12 new students joining us from last time. All the students, when we first started this process out last semester, we had 22 students and 22 tutors. By week 3, we had a certain amount of kids that for whatever reason weren't logging on. Now this time around, we have so many students that even if your student doesn't log on the first week, we most likely will have new students joining. So you will always have somebody to be working with. But I can tell you right now who you are paired up with tentatively. I always take a positive or an optimistic approach. So I'm assuming that who I've paired you up with right now is going to be there every week. But I just want to set the expectations that, these are kids, they've already been on Zoom. And for whatever reason, sometimes we have some kids that then may end up dropping out of the program for whatever reason. Hopefully that's not the case. The kids that have stuck with it, like Heather and her student was here every week, Monday and Wednesday. It was really fantastic. And that's always my ultimate goal for everybody here, to be paired up with someone like that. Angela, we have you paired up with Andrew. Andrew is in 1st grade. Jeff, we have you paired up with Justice. Justice is in 3rd grade. And I will also send this via email to you, who you're paired up with. And Kate, right now, we have you with Chloe, and Chloe is in 4th grade. Josh, did you have a question or something?
Yeah, sure. First, just thanks for putting together such a good list of resources. We really came a long way from the first cohort already. It's great to see. I think what's missing for the new tutors is just kind of an explanation of like the format of the night as far as like what to expect when I log on, and also I wasn't recording in the beginning, so just a difference between Monday and Wednesday. If you could reiterate that one more time, just very briefly, that'd be awesome.
Sure. So the difference between our Monday and our Wednesdays, again, is that Mondays is our drop-in night. And what we mean by drop-in night is there's not an expectation for kids to all be there. Whereas on Wednesdays, that is an expectation where kids are going to show up because they know their tutor is going to be there. So Monday is more of a looser day where kids will show up if they have homework. If they don't, they're going to take the day off. But if tutors are interested in coming, we always need tutors to work with a variety of students that show up. In certain cases, like Heather's, her student showed up on Monday. So if your student shows up on Monday from Wednesday, we will certainly have you two working together. But it's not a guarantee. It really depends on if they have homework or not. That being said, we really think that we're going to have a large group coming on Mondays. And we definitely would encourage anybody that's available to come on Mondays. In terms of format of the class, what we do is I'm in charge of the room. The kids usually are like emailing at 5:15, let us in. Technically, tutoring doesn't start till 5:30, but we would encourage you to try to log on by 5:25. In the past, maybe the first week or two, it may take up to 5:40 for kids to log on. Hopefully not, maybe for some of the newer kids. But normally the kids and everybody, the goal is to have everybody in the room by 5:30. So we tell people 5:25. We're going to do a quick survey of the day. And so the question might simply be, you know, laughing face for chocolate ice cream or thumbs up for vanilla. And then we'll do a quick tally. And then that'll be our question of the day. And I might even use the whiteboard to do 2 pictures. It's just a very quick intro for us all to get together. And then I put you guys in breakout rooms. And so if you guys aren't familiar with breakout rooms, it's the same Zoom room, but it's going to be just you and your student. I will be able to pop into the Zoom room if you need help. But you guys will then work from 5:35 to 6:25 in that Zoom breakout room. At the end, we're going to come back. We'll probably just say goodnight. There's not going to be a question or anything. If kids have to go, they can just sign off. If you have to go, you just kind of have to sign off. And if you know, we've definitely have instances where students need to work past 6:30. That's okay as well. You'll just remain in your breakout room. And normally, you know, by 6:25, we're able to wrap it up unless the students got a lot of stuff going on. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, sorry, you all. I had just got off my work calls. I just sent a text. So, hey, how are you doing, Dylan? Hey, everyone.
You got a lot of lights going on there. I like it.
Yes, these are my Christmas lights. Well, I actually have had them up for most of the when pandemic started. I like a lot. It's dark in here most of the time, so I don't get a lot of direct sunlight. So it's nice to have.
Very cool. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the difference between Monday and Wednesday. Again, I have sent out the resources to folks. If you have more questions about resources, more questions about what's going to be going on or strategies for yourself, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be sending out very shortly the student that you are tentatively paired with, as well as that very brief observation sheet, and with a little bit of instructions about the observation sheet. That's going to be used the first 2 Wednesdays for your own personal use. We would like to see it after, just to see, hey, this is what I've noticed about my student. And this is, you know, and then I will have a conversation with you via email briefly if you feel comfortable trying to address that. And if not, I will go out and try to figure out whatever we can supply to help supplement the issue that we've identified. And then the goal is at the end, we can go back and look at it, and you'll be able to provide us somewhat of a observational assessment of how far you guys have come. You know, we're not a formal, you know, standardized tutoring program, because again, we really emphasize not just the academic part, but the social, emotional, mentorship part of this as well. Especially in the pandemic, kids, they don't get to go to after school programs. Mom and dad are under, more stress than usual. And online learning is difficult for students. It's difficult for teachers. So they don't get the one-on-one support that they normally would get or even have access to, whether they want it or not, in a normal time. And so we're really trying to supplement that just as importantly as the academic piece to this. Any other questions? With that being said, then, it's really good to meet you, Angela. It's good to see Jeff and Kate again. Heather, it's great to see you. Josh, Jeff, Danny. I'm really glad to have all you guys here. Everyone watching the recording, we're so excited to see you guys. I will be sending out an email tomorrow with the observation sheet, the student you were tentatively paired with, an update of whether we are starting this Wednesday or not. And then did you guys get the link, Kate, Angela, and Jeff? Did you guys get your link yet for the class? I'll make sure to include that as well. So last year we had 2 different links, one for Monday and one for Wednesday. This year we're using the same link. So whatever night you need to log on, you're going to click one link, because it got confusing to which was Monday, which was Wednesday. It's going to be the same link all semester.
Yeah, I don't think I received it.
Okay, I'll make sure to include that in the email. And then Heather, we will see you tomorrow. I can certainly do that for you, Kate. I'll do that right now. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to reply back to my email tomorrow. Again, so glad you guys can join us. Good to see everybody. I have to jump onto my own class. I'm in virtual graduate school right now, so I understand what it's like to be a student as well. Yeah, I had a 3-hour class tonight, public data, not the most interesting class, but it's my last semester, so I'm almost there. I graduated in May. Yeah,
good for you.
Hopefully,
thanks, Dylan. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Have a good evening.